We cannot have unity in the church if we are living in unforgiveness. It's saying forgiveness is mandatory as a Christian. If you don't forgive someone else, God's not going to forgive you. Hey guys, what's up? So last video we talked about miracles and unity in the church, and I felt like a really good follow-up to that would be talking about forgiveness. Because we cannot have unity in the church if we are living in unforgiveness. And the Bible tells us that we need to forgive one another. Mark 11:25 says, "And whenever you stand praying, forgive if you have anything against anyone." Listen to that. Anything against anyone. So that your Father who is also in heaven may forgive you your trespasses. You see, as Christians, God tells us that we must forgive one another, because He forgives us. And you see, it goes even further, and in Matthew 6:15 it says, "But if you do not forgive others their trespasses, neither will your Father forgive your trespasses." Wow. That is really huge. It's saying forgiveness is mandatory as a Christian. If you don't forgive someone else, God's not going to forgive you. We need to forgive one another. Jesus was sent down from heaven to earth in order that we could be forgiven. And I'm sure many of you have heard this illustration, is that bitterness and unforgiveness is like drinking poison and expecting the person that you hate to die. And it's true. It's exactly what it is. But lots of people, myself included, are like, okay, that's great, but how can we actually forgive them? Because we all know that saying the words, "I forgive you," and actually meaning the words, "I forgive you," and living the lifestyle of "I forgive you" is a completely different thing. See, I remember when I was younger, and my sister and I, we were in an argument, and we were probably arguing about something along the lines of like, is Pepsi or Coca-Cola better? And I promise you, Pepsi is better than Coca-Cola. But we were arguing about that, and we got so heated, my mom came in, she's like, "Stop, guys." And she made us stop, and she made us say that we were sorry and forgive one another. And we probably said something along the lines of, "I'm sorry, I was mean." And then something along the lines of, "I forgive you." And is that forgiveness? Is that a true apology? No, of course not. And as Christians, we need to rise above that. We need to rise above these fake apologies. We need to rise above these fake things. Because in Matthew 5:43-48, it says, "You have heard that it was said, 'You shall love your neighbor and hate your enemy.' But I say to you, love your enemies and pray for those who persecute you, so that you may be sons of your Father who is in heaven. For He makes His sun rise on the evil and on the good, and send rain on the just and the unjust. For if you love those who love you, what reward do you have? Do not even tax collectors do the same? And if you greet only your brothers, what are you doing more than others? Do not even Gentiles do the same?" You see, we need to truly forgive. As Christians, we're called to be set apart. We're not supposed to be like the world. We're supposed to actually forgive. You see, the head pastor of River Church, Pastor Rob Kettling, explained forgiveness extremely well when he said this: "We need to forgive each other because God forgave us." And he used an illustration along the lines of this: the magnitude of how much that we have disobeyed God and He still forgives us is on a completely different level of us sinning against one of each other. It's on the level of a skyscraper, us sinning against God, and an ant for us sinning against one another. And see, we must rise above this. We must be willing to forgive one another, because God has forgiven us of so much more. And we won't even forgive someone who we think started a rumor about us. We won't even forgive someone who we think said something that sounded a little mean. And God's like, you literally sinned against me, and I had to send my son to die for you, to forgive you. We need to forgive as a church. That's the only way unity will come, is if we forgive. We need to live a life of forgiveness. We need to say this to the Lord, and I promise you it's going to be something that Satan's going to be fighting against you when you say this. It's going to be really hard to say. You need to say this. Lord, search me and know my heart. Let me know who I need to forgive and help me do it. I know that I'm a sinner and you forgave me. So give me the strength to do what I can't do. Help me to forgive my enemies and my friends. This won't be easy. This is not going to be easy at all, but we must forgive. Because after we pray that prayer, we need to actually act on it. Because if we just pray a prayer, Satan doesn't care. But if we actually change, that's when Satan gets scared. That's when unity can come in our church. Because when we actually change and start forgiving one another, that's when things can happen. We need to start aligning ourselves with people who are actually following God. Whether we have slight theological differences, we need to align with them as long as they're actually obeying God. Let us forgive together. Let us forgive today, because that's what God calls us to do. Thank you so much for watching. Please follow me on Instagram. Please like and subscribe to this channel to help with the YouTube algorithm. God bless.